Well, it's noon here in Lagos, Nigeria. Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics. I'm Kayode Kikulu. First, the top stories. The major opposition parties seem to be having their fair share of internal crisis, with the new Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP, having the latest episode marked with the burning of the symbolic Kwankwasia red cap by a group within the party. And a member of President Bola Tinubu's cabinet and Minister of State for Steel promises that the president will deliver on his promise to improve the economic situation of Nigerians as he seeks some more patience from the people. We continue with our coverage of the fuel situation in the country. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, Mr. Mele Kyari, says that cross-border smuggling and arbitrage have for decades eroded the value that subsidy was meant to achieve. Providing more information on what President Tinubu's decision on subsidy removal meant, Mr. Kyari says it brought about price parity and equalization, especially with cross-border prices of PMS. Mr. Kyari, in an interview with journalists, also spoke on the progress made on combating crude oil thieves, gas development, infrastructure, and the future of energy in Nigeria.
In the last 40-something years, PMS has always been subsidized. And subsidy is creating arbitrage. That means there's a difference between price in one location lower than what it should be with another location. The evacuation from the table averaged 51 in recent times. And when Mr. President announced the removal of subsidy in June, what it did is calibrated price. It came to market. There's no longer any value in anyone taking the product across the border. If you do, you're not going to make those profits that you do. I'll give you an example. If the delta is significant, like if you are selling twice the price across in a 6,000 liter truck, you can actually gain up to 70 million naira from just one truck. So how are you going to stop someone who can just with 2 trips across the border will make 17 times 2, which is the price of the truck itself? So if you don't arrest it, then it's over. He has made his money. Versus when you take a truck illegally, what's the cost of a truck now? Maybe 60,000. You take it to maybe 8 million naira, for instance, to Maiduguri. The legitimate value you have is less than 500,000 naira. So why would I see 70 million naira and then take all the trouble, go to Maiduguri, keep it in the fuel station for 1 month, and just make 300,000 to 400,000 naira? The challenge you have in all these countries, you have taxation on PMS. We don't have tax here. So in many of these countries, actually government revenue is dependent on the taxes that is coming on PMS. So you will see that until you balance for that, you recover your market costs and add taxation on it, there is no way you will ever get to a situation where there is some kind of market parity between us and our neighbors. But you will not be losing money. As long as you are not in a subsidy regime, you won't lose money.
Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Steel Development, Mr. Obame Gari, is asking Nigerians to be more patient with the government, as he says the Tinubu-led government reforms are expected to yield positive outcomes. The minister, who was a guest on our breakfast program, The Morning Brief, said the government also feels the burden of the hard times being experienced in the country and is of the opinion that the pain will slowly transform to gains for every citizen.
We are Nigerians, like all Nigerians out there, first and foremost. And of course, we feel everything that is there to feel or is being felt by Nigerians. We should trust ourselves, we should trust the government. The government has genuine intentions and we are doing the best we can. No human endeavor is free of problems. And since this is one, we are doing the best we can. I will plead that you be a little bit more patient with the government, not giving excuses for lapses. No, nothing deliberate. But of course, like I said earlier, being a human endeavor, we should make allowances for these little gaps in delivery, time delivery. I think we should be more tolerant of the things we're putting in place, or the president is working so hard to put in place to make life for Nigerians better.
And let's turn our attention to the sub-nationals. In exactly 1 month and 2 days, the people of Ondo State will be going out to vote for the next governor of the state. And, well, there's been a long backstory to this one. But this afternoon, we're getting a sense of how the opposition party is getting ready for that all-important election. And we're joined on the program by the Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State, Mr. Kennedy Perete, joins us via Zoom on the program. Mr. Perete, you're welcome to Lunchtime Politics. I'll get right to it. There's a lot of back and forth at the national level. The People's Democratic Party is definitely not in the best position. We're seeing suspensions, counter-suspensions. I even saw a video of someone who says he's now the chairman of the party, and I imagine that was sarcasm or some sort of jocular statement, but it just shows where the People's Democratic Party is right now. And you have an election to prosecute. So how is that weighing on your plans for the coming elections?
Well, thanks, Coyote, and thanks for having me on this program this afternoon. Now, to start with, whatever is happening at the national level cannot be unexpected, so to speak, because the PDP is a very big party. And like you know, we have been here for quite a long time, perhaps a party with the longest history of existence, that have not changed logo, have not changed nomenclature by way of name, and so on. So there is bound to be interests and divergence of interest in this case. So the ripples we are seeing are the divergence in opinion or interest within the party. But for Ondo State, I can tell you for sure that perhaps only one person of the entire lot that is in the crisis, if you like to call it, is from Ondo State. All the others do not have voting rights in Ondo State. So the interests that matter to us is the one of the Ondo State people, and that is ensuring that the PDP gets it very well this time around in Ondo State, because, like I said before, what we have seen so far is the APC campaigning very vigorously for the PDP, so much so that they know that they are in very turbulent waters, and our desire to use the Democracy Pack that was built by PDP administration was denied yesterday on the ground that, oh, we didn't apply on time. Is it that we didn't apply on time, or the place is available or not available? But whichever is the case, I can tell you that the ripples of what is happening in Abuja will not rub off on us negatively in Ondo State.
Right. We'll still come to those issues about the venue use and all of that, but I'd like to stay with this for a bit, and it's important to just lay all the cards on the table. They say politics is local, but political parties are registered at the federal level. So if you're not registered at the federal level, there's nothing local about your politics, right? And that speaks to the point that you need the support from the national to prosecute whatever you want to do. So my question, which I'll rephrase, is, so who then are you getting support from at the national level? Are you getting it from the suspended national chairman, according to Mr. Debo Ologunagba, now acting national chairman, or you're getting it from, well, now what I would describe as a faction of Mr. Debo Ologunagba, or is it the NWC? What kind of support are you getting, and who is it from?
Well, when you say support, the way parties are structured is that it's merely administrative. Administrative in the sense that if there are correspondences between Ondo State and the National Secretariat, they are channeled to the national chairman. And in this case, what we have seen so far is not clearly defined. We had this kind of situation in the past when somebody, Ahmadu Sharif, said he was the national chairman, then another faction headed by Ahmed Makarafi, governor of Kaduna State. until the court came into it and resolved who exactly was in charge of the National Secretariat of the PDP. So the support we are talking about is only in terms of administrative channel of communication. So It's not like there's going to be some logistics that's coming from Abuja or one way or the other. No, it's very, very local. The people of Ondo State, the PDP members of Ondo State are going to decide their own future by themselves. The role of the National Secretariat is very tangential.
Okay, so let's talk about the politics now, local politics and the build-up to the elections. You wanted to use a democracy park, but it looks like access is not being given. But is there a change in that? Has access been given? If they say that you applied late, when did you apply? And what else do you think might be at play here?
We think what's at play is some kind of fear that is already in the brains of those people that are driving the APC, especially the governor of Ondo State, Honorable Lucky Aiyedatiwa. Now, they had a flag off for the Central District in Ondo City on Saturday, where this morning I had already shown videos of the venue of the event, where the pavilion where the event took place was well dilapidated and destroyed. And not many people turned up for the event. So I feel very strongly that it was out of fear that if we had this shabby show in Ondo City on Saturday, and the PDP is going to have a grand flag off on Tuesday in Akure, that is state capital, that it may negatively rub off on them, and therefore quickly came up with this argument that, oh, we applied late. Now the question would be, is it that we applied late or that the venue is not available? If the venue is not available, why is it that it's not available? Somebody else paid? Because the chairman of the campaign council plays a call to the permanent secretary and director, all those people that have to do with the use of Democracy Park. And don't forget, this is not the first time that is a Democracy Park, even as an opposition party. So why, in this case, will the APC administration deny us the use of the Democracy Park, if not out of fear?
When did you apply to use the park?
We applied last week. We applied last week on Monday last week, when we were sure that the event was going to hold on Tuesday, that's 15th. And we applied, apart from writing in black and white, calls were placed to those who have responsibility for making it available. And we had assurances that the place was going to be available until Saturday morning, after their own show probably failed in Ondo, and they said, no, these people must be stopped. And then media managers of the governor is saying that, oh, we applied late. If we applied on Monday and you didn't tell us that it was not available or that we are applying late, in any case, is there any time frame within which we must apply? Well, in this case, we applied well over a week to the event. Because if we are going to apply for something like this, a lot of things are involved. We are going to ask people to come from various local governments. A lot of preparations we go into. So we have to be very sure that it's going to hold on this day, which is what we did. And they said, oh, you didn't apply on time. So for us, it's just a decoy. It's just a smoke screen. You know that the place is available. They don't just want to give us.
Well, it said here that on Friday, October the 11th, and that's a statement, I think you referenced that from the governor's aide, that on Friday the 11th, that the state government received an application from your party, the PDP, requesting the use of the facility for your campaign flag of on October the 15th. But you say that you applied when?
Applied on Monday.
That's October. October
not Friday.
Yeah, what date was that? Monday,
that
October the.
Monday will be like maybe like 8.
On the 8th.
Maybe like 8. I can't. There's something like that. Yes, I'm not sure of the date, but I know it was Monday. It was reported that applications have been dropped with the agency that is responsible for making it available for use. And like I said, not only writing, that calls were placed to the director who was in charge or who is in charge of facility. And we are sure.
Because it's important to, as I said earlier on, full disclosure, let's know all the information. If permission was sought Monday, which is, by the way, October the 7th, this statement says that they received the application on October the 11th, and it says that upon processing the application, it was discovered that another support group had already booked and secured approval for the same date. So it's your word against theirs. I imagine you have some sort of proof to provide and say that, well, no, it's not 11th, it's on the 7th. Do you have any sort of proof?
No, well, I will ask the campaign director of the director of operations to make this available if need be and to be circulated so that those people can know for sure who is lying on this matter.
Fantastic. And
but I can tell you, we did apply on Friday.
Okay, would love to have that as well, because this would also help conversation to lay everything bare. So what is now plan B for the PDP? If they say you can't use Democracy Park, where would you use then?
Well, we have an alternative plan, and the alternative plan is that we are going to use one of our offices that is owned by one of our leaders in the party in Akure, somewhere around Uyemeku. That's where we are asking our supporters to come to tomorrow for the flag off. Whether or not they deny the use of Democracy Park, the event will go home.
All right. So let's talk about the election proper now. And I know that this is going to be a month long of campaigns, rigorous campaigns. So election is on November the 16th. INEC says it is now in possession of non-sensitive materials. So while we can talk about the politics side of things, let's talk about the conduct as well. How much confidence do you have in INEC?
Well, let me say that taking a cue from what happened in Edo last month, we are very, very, we're not too comfortable with the way and manner the Edo election was conducted. And here in Ondo State, there have been calls and cries for the deployment of the resident electoral commissioner, who we have information that sometimes hold some clandestine meetings with the governor of Ondo State. And a lawyer representing a particular group had already written to the national headquarters of INEC, stating very clearly the reason why the resident electoral commissioner was being redeployed from Ondo State. But be that as it may, whether or not they redeploy her, we are going to ensure that in Ondo State, our people get a little bit more vigilant than they ordinarily would have been to ensure that nobody tampers with our election results and that the results will be uploaded at every polling unit. And collation will take place at the ward collation centers and local government collation centers. In the case of Edo, we discovered that the number of places, there was no collation in the local government. And our agent at the collation center repeatedly told the collation agents that, look, this collation you are doing in Benin was not done at the local government headquarters. So the story is going to be vigilance and doubly watchful. We are doubly watchful, are going to be doubly vigilant in this case, in terms of preparations.
Well, Mr. Perete, I think what played out in Edo State, instead of maybe making you afraid, should encourage you. Because what we saw in Edo State was the ruling party in the state not winning the election. So maybe that can also play out in Ondo States. So I think that should actually be a shot in the arm for you rather than give you...
No, Kyle, that's not correct. If there are no issues with the election in Edo, what I mean by issues that there were agencies of government observers who said the election was marred with irregularities. So an election that is marked with irregularity cannot be a benchmark for us. If it had been free and fair and credible, the security agencies did their jobs, the INEC did their job, and of course, we can leverage on that. So in this case, it's not because opposition won in Edo that is a matter, but the fact that the election was well below average. Performance of the security agencies and the performance of INEC was below average. That's exactly what we are saying, that in Ondo State, we are going to be doubly watchful and ensure that which ought to be done, will be properly done.
Well, we'll also be keeping watch on the political parties, all the players and other stakeholders in the build-up to this election. But we'll have to thank you so much for your time. I know it's a big day for you tomorrow. We'll be speaking with the Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State, Mr. Kennedy Perete. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Kevin.
Staying with the PDP, which is something we referenced earlier on, a member of the party's Board of Trustees and former governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, has expressed his displeasure over the crisis rocking the party. Mr. Fayose explains that respectable members of the party have made a mockery of suspensions and counter-suspensions, and he spoke on our political program, Sunday Politics.
The current situation in our party has made a mockery of suspension and counter-suspension. Has made a mockery, especially at that level of leadership. And sadly enough, the current situation in the party has taken the party so low, a level of embarrassment that is most unnecessary. All due respect to our governors, managing their states wonderfully well. Where is the party? What are we talking about? Do we say the party is in shape? Elections had come and gone. And because the party suffered a loss, I think the consequences of that loss is haunting the party. The mismanagement and the arrogance of a few today is haunting the party. And he said when the head is sick, the whole body is gone. So it will need God's intervention. We need a miracle for this party to be put together again.
Well, the PDP is not the only one, or at least the only opposition party experiencing internal wranglings, as in the new Nigeria People's Party as well, there's been a lot of drama. Now, one of those laying claims to the national chairmanship position of the party, Dr. Gilbert Agbo, has labeled Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso and his Kwankwasia movement as detrimental to the party's progress and existence. Speaking at the North Central Zonal meeting in Mina, Mr. Agbo emphasized that Senator Kwankwaso's suspension by the National Working Committee in Lagos effectively ended his membership with the party, and his own group also supervised the symbolic burning, as you can see, of the Kwankwasia movement red cap at the state secretariat of the party in Niger State.
The status of Kwankwaso, as far as NNPP is concerned today, is that he is not a member of our party. Kwankwaso was suspended and later expelled even before the governor himself. Kwankwaso was suspended precisely on the 29th of August, 2023. He was suspended from this party by a convention, an emergency convention, mini convention that was held at the Rockview Hotel in Lagos. So as we speak today, the status of Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, let me just try to respect him, is that he is there as former governor of Kano State. He is there as former leader of the party, because when he had the ticket for the presidency, on the platform of our party, he was the leader of the party. He went into that election and came a distant fourth. Because of whatever reasons, I do not know. We were told that the identification mode of the Kwankwasia group is the red cap. So they came into the party with the red cap. And after the election, when we terminated the memorandum of understanding that brought us together, we asked their leader, who is Kwankwaso, and the entire red cap people to exit. Unfortunately, the people that are just exiting today probably didn't know what was happening at the center. But the red cap is as good as gone.
Well, over to Kaduna State now, and ahead of the October 19th local government election, Governor Basani is asking members of the APC and supporters to maintain the peace both during and after the election, while also sounding optimistic that his party will emerge victorious. Speaking during the campaign rallies in Lere, Soba, and Ikara local government areas, Governor Sani, who spoke through his deputy, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, expresses confidence that the APC will emerge victorious without resorting to violence. But elsewhere, The main opposition, People's Democratic Party in the state, is accusing the Kaduna State House of Assembly of plotting to amend the State Independent Electoral Commission election laws just a few days to the election. But these allegations are countered by the PDP Assembly members who absolved the Assembly of any wrongdoing. And just before we go, let's bring you an update on the situation with the Super Eagles. Well, the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, says the Eagles will no longer take part in the 2025 AFCON qualifier against Libya after Libyan authorities delayed the Super Eagles at the Al Abrak airport for more than 12 hours after landing. A statement by the NFF Communications Department said the team were left unattended to at the airport. Also, the Sports Minister, John Eno, says he has escalated the ill treatment meted out to the Super Eagles. He added that the focus at the moment is the safety of the senior men's team. He described the current situation of the Super Eagles as an almost hostage situation. Well, wishing the Super Eagles the very best. Well, you've been served. Thank you for joining us on Lunchtime Politics. I am Kaido Kikulu. Stay with Channels Television. Goodbye.